Neon Genesis Evangelion is about the feeling of abandonment, watching yourself as if you were a passive viewer instead of being in control of your body, just going through the motions day by day. Shinji, the protagonist, an overly nice boy, agreeable to everyone, avoiding conflict and tension. Yet this does not stop him from experiencing brutality from other people and life, with him not doing much to stand up or defend himself. Yet this is not to say that he does not feel resentment and anger. His anger, though, is often directed at himself, which manifests outwardly when he's in his angel. When he's not in his angel, he's mostly reacting to exterior forces, being pushed around. He doesn't incite change like other protagonists, and he's the last person you would think of as a hero. He could be pretty much summed up as a loser. He's a puppet to those around him, especially to his father, who values him more in terms of being adapted to fighting an angel rather than his worth as a person. In fact, by his actions, you could go as far and say that he's indifferent to him as a person, indifferent to his existence beyond his place in the angel. He's merely a valuable tool to help stop humanity from being extinct. As said before, Shinji lacks a backbone. He doesn't stand up for himself, fighting within himself to change, yet it is seemingly futile, while the world is becoming more and more endangered of ending. His agreeableness, which could stem from the fear of abandonment, from being left by others, and to himself in an internal solitude. Not only does he possess extreme agreeableness, but also passiveness in relation to the outside world, namely the reality outside that of his thoughts or his angel. A passive and agreeableness which is potentially highlighted well in this one incident. The incident with Toji punching him unjustly, and when he gives Shinji the opportunity to punch him back for his wrongdoing, the latter is resistant and doesn't even seem to have the motivation or desire to even fix this wrongdoing. It could be argued that Shinji's existential crisis and search for meaning doesn't exactly stem from life without purpose. What I mean is, he has found, to a large extent, purpose in combating inside an angel. He's actively helping humanity not becoming endangered of ending. He's an extremely valuable asset. Yet that is exactly what he fears being limited to, just a tool, whose personality and the person he is being completely ignored by the rest of the world. His father very likely instilling this fear of abandonment and not having any meaning in terms of actual human contact and meaningful relationships. The meaning of being valuable to other individuals such as family, friends, and a partner rather than his perceived limited value, that of combating in an angel solely. He perceives and fears maybe that if he wasn't adaptable to combat in an angel, he would wither away in solitude, existing in a world where nobody wants him. His difficulty in establishing strong connections with those around him and those who are actively trying to have a relationship with him renders his fear more real, and despite him being essential and vital in the grand scheme of things, he still arguably possesses the feeling of not wanting to exist anymore. He's not very responsive to his relations at times, and sometimes not making much effort to continue a relation. Yet he does find limited meaning in the realm of human relations. He does find a family that substitutes his initial lack of one and his deep-rooted solitude. A group of people that is just broken as he is, yet they all possess on the surface level more vitality than him. They all seem less depressed than him, and they all cope in different manners than him. Though these are just appearances, and this is evidently not a reflection of the reality happening within themselves or their subconscious. We learn more about them as the anime progresses, and how they also have similar fears of abandonment and loneliness. Who also possess the empty void. Like Misato, losing her father, she copes by drinking large amount of beer and having someone in the past who is very arguably not very adept in having a healthy relationship. She's also lonely. Asuka also has been hurt and possesses the fear of abandonment from having a non-responsive mother and coping with a sort of aggression and continual guard to those around her. Someone who doesn't really treat Shinji with much respect and seemingly takes advantage of his agreeableness. Then we have Rei, who rejects any kind of human contact, whose manner and very being is alien, with her only caring about one person, going as far as to idealize this man, Gendo, the father of Shinji, the very man who has been the main source of pain for most of his life and probably the root cause of his insecurities, causing the perpetual problems he has with relations with other individuals. Shinji's submission in life only really ends when he's in his angel or in solitude, with him only being in his element when he's in combat mode, with the angel being a veritable extension of himself. It is arguably there where his anger manifests itself, the compressed emotions, where he loses control sometimes, where his emotions flood in, where he fights his demons and where he is the most alive. He's also in turmoil when he's by himself, usually at night, where his frustration pours in and his vivid dreams revealing his fears and desires. The anime delves into his thoughts, psychology and very being, exploring how he perceives those that mean something to him, how he tries to replace the mother he never had and his absent father, the claustrophobic feeling, the sentiment that there is nowhere to escape, the ever-present void he feels and how he vainly tries to fill it. The hole left by the death and termination of relations or fear of it happening, with all of them coping in different manners. The person who directed this anime was also experiencing depression himself. His depression could be also why the anime progresses at such a measured, slow pace. The passive and reactionary state of Shinji, where as said before is just a puppet and person being pushed around and dictated by others, which causes great frustration for anyone watching this. He is also stuck in a loop, which consists of him being slowly consumed by his own demons and no one really perceiving the chaos inside of him. Anime where most of it is just going through the motions of life, with the void ever present. Loneliness despite being surrounded by people, all things we can relate to, with the end of humanity coming closer. With the ending episodes being psychedelic, where we aren't sure if he's experiencing is reality or just his vivid thoughts. Life is time ticking, with death always approaching, yet for him there is very little desire to continue existing, repeating the motions day by day, with the void inside, the lonely feeling. The anime not only gives us insight into the character's life and thoughts, but reinforces the nature of his existence, by even having the anime progressing in a slow burn manner. Anime that delves deep into not only the protagonist's psychology but those around him, showing very competent people in their domain, functional yet broken. How they cope with their loneliness and existential crisis, and how they interact with each other, many times mostly ignorant of each other's sorrow, just managing to go through life day by day. Also, that's why if you need help, it is strongly recommended that you actively seek help and not see it as a burden for other people. Neon Genesis Evangelion is an anime that truly asks questions about our existence by its very nature.